All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We are the B team. Thanks for coming and joining us on a surprise Tuesday night episode. We had some heavy personal things happen, so thanks for hanging with us as we switch here. Don't give Ben too hard of a time. We try to hang out and wait for him, but he's got stuff going on, so he's working on getting here. So everybody could just relax a little bit.
Alex, we were sitting here. We even gave you a primer. Hey, we're going to be late.
Right. Jeez.
But we have to go live within 8 minutes or it screws it up on Facebook. So
we just want to give Ben the best chance he could to get here. He will be here tonight. He's just got some things going on. So he'll be back. But as always, thank you for joining us on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook and YouTube accounts and the FFN. That's the FCS Fans Nation Network YouTube as well. As always, we are proud to be brought to you by Jackrabbit Illustrated with our title sponsor at Jackrabbit Illustrated, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. You might notice Chad's snazzy new hat. It's a beauty, pretty cool one. Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. They've got locations all over the state of South Dakota near you. Get yourself into some orange equipment today to take care of your home, your acreage, or your farm. They've got everything, attachments or tractors or anything you might need to take care of your work, skid steers, the whole works. They've got everything. I've got a friend who's got a Kubota skid steer that he loves to death. Loves how much he's able to get out of it with the bucket up or down and everything like that, how easy it is for it to work on. They've got parts, they've got service, everything you may need. So get in there for Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. Get yourself into some orange equipment today. And of course, our title sponsor, because the B team wouldn't be complete without Cubby Sports Bar and Grill. Love having them be our title sponsor ever since we maybe accidentally sort of forced them into making the J.I. Italian nachos. Love having Cubbies be one of our sponsors. They've got the jacked up burgers with one of our other sponsors, Hadrick Ranch. New sticker on the fridge behind me, Hadrick Ranch, the jacked up burger there. But they've got roughly 30,000 TVs in there. You can't turn your head without seeing 17 TVs on a wall to get up to date on all of your sports action. They are the number one sports bar in South Dakota, in my unbiased opinion. They are the best. Everybody in South Dakota, I tell you this, almost everybody in South Dakota knows Cubby's Sports Bar. I guarantee you people from Aberdeen don't know many. Most of them don't know the name of sports bars in Sioux Falls, but I bet they know Cubby's, most of them. So Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, they are your Jackrabbit headquarters. We're going to have an away game this week. Get down to Cubby's for the best atmosphere you can have, and watch the Jacks game at Cubby's. I can't think of a better place to watch. You get some Chiswick, get some burgers, get some brews. So beyond that, we haven't got to go over the Mercyhurst game yet here on the B team. You got to talk about it a fair amount on the A team.
Yeah.
Kevin, the B team is scared to make money. We're not scared to make money. No. We got too long. That was our problem. We had to make scared money don't make money because the show was going like 2 hours.
It was pretty ridiculous. Which begs the question: is there going to be a second late night show?
No. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I know. But that one goes 2 hours.
If I brought up another show, Ariel would gut me right on the lawn.
He'd be done doing all shows.
Yeah, I'd be dead. That'd be the end of it. There'd be no more shows. Kirby says we need an Ice Castle-like nickname for the Dana J. I don't mind that. I don't know what it would be. It's kind of hard. I think those things have to occur naturally. The Ice Castle just makes sense for the Penguins. There's a comment. We can't throw you up. Maybe pick a different username there.
Mr. Slayer.
Mr. Slayer. Is Mercyhurst any good, or are these other fan bases exaggerating? We killed them. I think it's a combination of things. I think Mercyhurst was a pretty solid team. They caught the Jacks after a bye. That's not fortunate for them. They were in their fourth time zone in a month. We've seen personally as Jacks fans what that does to a team. I think they were wore out. You can only be in so many tough games like that. We've seen that with even NDSU has had that happen before, where they had an out-of-conference schedule like that, where it was just tough game. And then that eventually wore them down. Now the out-of-conference didn't, but after they went through the Valley schedule on top of it, they ended up wearing down and not making the national title game that year. That was the year they lost to JMU in the semis in Fargo. So that wears on you, and they're an NEC team. I think I'm worried for them come the time to play in the NEC, because after you get beat down like that, I think the injuries have piled up on them, and that's unfortunate. But that being said, I do think Mercyhurst was a pretty sound team. The Jacks just were able to get them off the field right away. The defense was really effective besides the one touchdown drive at pinning them in places where they weren't able to go for it on fourth, which they love to do. Made them successful or difficult for some teams to play with. They were able to control the clock that way. Well, and the Jacks didn't give them that opportunity. They had them pinned deep. Most times, and I mean, there's going for it on fourth a lot, but that's usually when you can get out to midfield or so you're not given super short fields and usually getting into a fourth and short scenario, and that the Jacks defense just was not given that option up very much. Also turned them over a couple times. That made a big difference. Cashed in all the time. I believe I saw from Zimmer, this is like the second game we've had without a punt, which I think needs to be
the second game without a punt. Yep.
That's incredible. 2 games straight without a punt is really impressive. But
Ullman didn't get a strip this game.
He didn't,
man. He's lacking. He's got to do a little.
Force a fumble. Yeah. Now he's only 3 for 4. What is he doing? But yeah, beyond that, the man, the myth, the legend, here he is, Miss America. Ben is with us, unless he's been signaling not to go on, and I missed it. So
I didn't see
he
it.
looks
he just
like he's ready to go.
To come on. Yeah.
So yeah, he can choose when to come on when he wants, but
I can put him on.
We can force it too. I've heard no, never mind.
That's going wrong real quick. Let's talk about football.
Ben, glad you made it, buddy. Looking good.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Sorry about being late. Just had some family stuff to take care of. Yeah, found this on Facebook Marketplace. It's even got like the Summit League logo on it, which I thought was cool. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a team issued thing, but it looks pretty sweet. But yeah,
if Chad and I were a couple size smaller, Facebook Marketplace would be awesome for that stuff.
I'd have to be like 3 sizes smaller.
Well, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Potato.
A few.
Yeah. Although the 1X stuff gets snatched up pretty quick, but
yeah, I'm sure of that. But you've been doing all sorts of the film clippage and everything. So what are your thoughts on the Mercyhurst game?
Overall good. I think that you're starting to see things develop with the offense and a lot of guys starting to gel, especially Mason with the wide receivers. It seems like he's really starting to get a connection and really starting to trust them. I don't know if it's, him just getting the confidence or him, starting to gain a real connection with guys. But man, there were so many anticipation throws that we just did not see in the first week or two. Which is kind of wild considering, we played Sac State, which, is turning out to be maybe not a great team, but Montana State, which is a pretty damn good team. And, we were able to beat them when Chase Mason wasn't playing like this. Right. He's been developing very, very quickly, and it's awesome to see because he looks really good and really confident right now. I think that, we've still got some things to clean up in the run game. And I have full confidence that we'll see that every issue that we've had so far. There's, it seems like there's been the next week it gets cleaned up. And so, yeah, I think it's just, that process of, cleaning things up week by week, trying some new things, and then seeing how it goes after that. But overall, very, very good. Yeah.
I got just something to add to that. How much do you think is our offensive line getting better and giving Chase another half second or so too? I think it's multi-factored there. Not only has he gotten better, he's gotten just a little less pressure too, I'd say.
Yeah, I think our offensive line pass protection has been amazing. I think they are a very, very good pass protecting line. I think they can be a good run blocking line. I think they're still getting used to the schemes that Eisnes uses. There's a lot of pulling, there's a lot of, washing down. And I think that, still getting the hang of that and still kind of trying to find their groove there. One thing that, I have always liked having like 5 consistent offensive linemen. And I kind of hope we find that. I don't mind early season, especially against, in a game like Mercyhurst or whatever, where you're rolling guys in and out. But I would really like to see us find a consistent 5 guys and then, roll a 6th guy in when we need him. But I think that consistently can help a line a lot in terms of, knowing who's next to you, how they play, if you're going to need to help them on a play or not, or so it's, I'll be interested to see. I guess, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think we'll find a 5 guys? Or do you think we'll keep rotating?
It's tough to say. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept with the rotation, to be honest. It might just make it a little bit longer to gel. They might like certain things more with one guy than the other. But eventually, all those things you're talking about too is if one guy is switching between one or two, you should get used to and understand what that guy's like as well, over time. It's not like you can't learn that second guy who gets swapped in or you rotate. They can get used to that. But I will point out as well, I think right now, including Mercyhurst and Seth Meyer says the line is improving, but I wonder how much of that is the opponents. I think part of it is we have to throw right now because teams are selling out on the run. That was because that's kind of how we started, and they were really, really, sending. We saw tons of pressures and things like that. I think Eidsness has adjusted. We saw that in Mercyhurst. We threw a lot, and I think part of that as well is being able to get film on teams to really understand how they're going to attack us. I think that makes a difference. You're not. We want that level of line, right, that we've had for the last 3-4 years. But look at NDSU last year. Their O-line last year, I would say, wasn't to the level of what their NDSU offensive lines had been in the past, and you can still be successful with that. You need you need a very good offensive line, and the offensive line does need to improve still from there to be a national championship caliber. But I do think sometimes we're colored a little bit by what we've seen with an offensive line that, to be frank, had a bunch of NFL caliber guys on it at the time. So can they get there? Absolutely. I'm with you. I do like to have, 5 guys settled in there. And I could definitely see that happening, as the season goes on, you end up landing on a guy, or it just happens by default because somebody gets hurt. I mean, it's a long season. It's a tough schedule through the valley. Somebody's going to get hurt. And, maybe that's what they're looking to do, is to get these guys experience throughout the out of conference and in these early games, so that if someone does get dinged up or beat up or is out for a couple weeks, you've got everybody with, that sort of experience, and then they can roll together.
I guess I agree, Ben. I'm a fan of the 5 solid guys, but if we're going to do the rotation, I'd like to see it more like 2-3 series with one guy and then switch the other guy back out and make it less of a true rotation. If that's what we're going to try and do, that's just my opinion on that. I think that's a better way to approach that and still rotate.
For sure.
And I think, sorry, you can go ahead.
No, you got it.
I was just going to say, I think the hard thing is too, especially, we don't know practices, things like that, is we don't know what the logic is as to why they're doing it in the first place, so that makes it kind of tough. It's kind of like PFF grades, right? Like when you're grading an O-lineman, but you don't really know what his assignments actually are because you haven't called that play, drawn it up, and gone through the week of practice and how they want to block something up. It makes it hard to grade a guy who we don't even know necessarily if he's actually covering for somebody because somebody didn't get off the double team. It was somebody else who was actually supposed to get to him. So he looks bad instead.
So you looked at Zimmer's tweet too.
Yes. Well, and I've always agreed with that. I've never, and the whole
time I was thinking, but what if your PFF is a 0?
Right. If it's a 0,
anyway,
that's legendary. I think you can use those as a rule of thought, as a general gauge, but they're certainly not the end all be all. But that's just me.
Yeah. And I think your point about getting experience is right. I mean, it is huge to have guys that are ready to go in the instance that there's an injury. And I think some of the frustration that I've had maybe with the run game is, I think, like I said earlier, I think it's some of the getting used to the scheme. And I think in my rewatch, there are some timing issues. It seems like I know that the running back delays a little bit just to let the play develop a little bit and give Chase, a good gauge of how the play is developing and whether he's going to hand it off or try to pass it. However, I feel like our running backs are maybe hesitating a little too long, and that mesh point is taking a little too long. And then also, I think that, a lot of times, we've been running maybe a little more vanilla version of run RPO and, saying that, yeah, it's going to be an RPO, but we're handing it off. Like he's not really, he's making the read mentally, but he's not actually, necessarily going to make the read to go pass it. That could be some of it too. But so, yeah, I think it'll develop. I think that, we're only 4 games in, and I trust Coach Eisnes completely. And I think we'll be good. But
well, Coach Jackson has said in, the coaches show in some interviews that, Julius and the other backs are still learning
100%.
their reads in this offense. Yeah. He said there's a lot of runs there's a lot of yards still out there. And I think we've seen that improve as it goes as well. And I think the push of the line really improved as the game went on and I didn't do a rewatch, but just from what I was watching, there was some pretty big holes started to be blasted open as the game went in. I'm not sure without a rewatch if that was just because we were forcing them to respect the pass a lot more, or if it was just because they started to wear them down. So
yeah, I think they were getting worn down from the long road trips that have been talked about. But I mean, prime example, I think it was down on the 2-yard line, and I don't know if Basker went the wrong way or what, but man, the whole line blocked to the right and he went to the left, and there was 3 guys there waiting for him, and it was a clear, miscommunication somewhere. But I think, those things are still happening and they need to get cleaned up as we go into Valley play. But I think they will. The concerning thing is, though, that, we saw from a post by Begman's dad that he's got an injury and he's gonna, he may be out for a while. And so, we need to get some other running backs healthy, and, hopefully we get Blair back. And hopefully, we see Basinger continue to develop. And then, we can see the run game take off at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to apologize to Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. They're actually the show sponsor, and I got confused between that and Scared Money Don't Make Money.
Easy to do.
And to do that the week that we had a 50 Butterburger is crushing. That I'm pretty disappointed.
Did you see the graphic I made?
No, I didn't see the graphic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I missed that. But
I did. Yeah. It's cool. It's 50 burger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Rack has a comment that I'll address, but
well, I'm with Rack. We want to beat that other team from Montana. So.
Yeah, beat the other Montana team in the
they're looking salty,
They look salty, but yes,
as long as IAC can continue to throw the ball well. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it before, but it's a new year. But yeah, Culver's, Brookings, Watertown, go up there and celebrate by getting the 50 Butterburger yourself, right? Culver's, Brookings, Watertown, get yourself some of the fries with the so good cheese sauce to dip them in. It is amazing. If you're lactose intolerant, it's because you're weak and you need to train your body more to be stronger.
I wish that was true for jalapenos.
No, but in all seriousness, get to the Culvers of Brookings Watertown. They've got the stuff, man. They're the if you need a quick meal, you need fast food, Culvers is the way to go. Get yourself some frozen custard, everything else. You got the full meal deal there with food that absolutely wallops other ice cream places and really any fast food. And I mean, you can get everything there. They got fish, they got the whole 9 yards.
Speaking of 50 butter burgers, did you see the Culver's burger that they definitely used for the
the butter burger?
Yeah, that was a Culver's burger. I could tell.
That was a Culver's burger. I could tell for sure. It was fantastic.
Yep.
Our media team is killing it. Matt Holland, so great to have you back, man.
Yes, it is awesome to have Matt Holland back. It has been a treat to follow the social media team this year. It's amazing.
Yeah, Chris Howard mentions it would be nice to get the tight ends going more. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they're still learning a lot too and figuring out the offense. And it'll be interesting to see if we can get Kuntz healthy, the transfer from Sac State. See if we can get him going. But what I do like to see is that, when Ogroski went down with a shoulder injury, it seemed like and from all indications, it looked like he's probably going to be okay. And I think that Dan Jackson was quoted saying that he, wants to play this week. But what I love seeing was Graham Goring getting going a lot. Bullock still having good hands, but then also Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, which sounds like he had some injuries. He's trying to get healthy, and he looked really good. So I'm excited to see him out there more. Jack Smith looked really good. And Sammy Dressy got into the game. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I think our wide receiver cast is in a good spot. And we heard that early on this year. We were, everybody was kind of worried, like, oh, geez, who's going to be our wide receiver? And then we heard about how deep this room is. And I think you're seeing that now, just how talented they are. With a guy like Ogroski going out and then, just not skipping a beat really. So it's encouraging to see.
Right. And I was very much, we heard it, but I was like, well, I gotta see it. Right. Yeah. It was to the point of, all right, we need to see this shown. And the tight ends are the next group up that need to do that. But when you see a drive where Alex Bullock gets, 3 targets, scores a touchdown deep down the field. Graham Goring stepping up big time. He's really having a nice year.
Shout out to him. Curtis Riggs mentioned it quite a bit on the broadcast that it seems like something has changed where he's making hands catches a lot more.
And mentioned that specifically.
Yeah, not body catches. And so, I mean, that had to be something that he worked on because I know that's, for receivers, that's a big thing. And so I think you've seen a big improvement. I think it's working for him. And, he's had some issues, but man, he's stuck with it and the team has trusted him and he seems to be really taking off. So I'm excited to see what he can do because I think you saw in this game, I think it was him getting really confident because he looked confident catching the ball and making moves after catching the ball. And so that was really exciting to see.
With the absolute piss missile that Chase throws, nobody's catching it against their pads. It's just going to bounce off.
For sure.
Right.
And kudos to Bullock for the absolute circus catch he had in that north end zone where he jumped up, turned his hips like a cat, midair when they film him in slow-mo,
Right. Yep.
So they land on their feet. I was just like, wow, that was really a hell of a catch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. And I love seeing these guys, getting this confidence now and getting rolling.
Mm-hmm.
You really saw them pick up specifically at the Drake game is really where they picked up and started to get involved in the offense and make plays and get that trust with Chase, and the timing routes all seem to be really working really well. So now we need to see it happen in Valley play against, tougher competition than Mercyhurst and Drake. And I expect that to continue, but we got to see it.
Yeah, I do too. And I think, it's been really good to see some better third down efficiency. And then I think, one of the last thing that the offense really needs to focus on is just red zone efficiency. And the silly thing is some of it's just mental mistakes. And so I think, that's pretty easy to clean up. And so I think we'll see a big improvement in red zone efficiency going forward too. But loved seeing, one more note on the offense, love seeing Eidsness do a lot of horizontal concepts, getting just guys into space and let them, because we got some really fast guys on the outside, and that whole diamond set with Ogroski coming out of the backfield, Jack Smith coming out of the backfield, and then linebackers struggling to find them. That's going to be a problem for teams because number one, they're going to have to game plan for it, and the more you make other teams game plan for it, the harder it is. And number two, we're going to have offshoots off of that. As soon as you think he's going to hit a guy out of the backfield, Mason's going to take off or something. So there's just a lot that you can do once you start having success with a play like that. And so it's really exciting to see. Enough on the offense. Anything on the defense we want to mention? Just still, they
looked great.
Yeah, it's just so good. There's not much to complain about there.
Yeah, they're flying around. I love if you do listen to Curtis Riggs when he's on John Gaskins this week talking about the D tackles and how Claiborne and I think it's Green, right? Unless I'm an idiot.
Green.
How just monster they've been, and I've said it before already, but this defense, man, and I think I said it the Sac State game, and then I went, oh, never mind, or maybe it was Montana State, how this defense reminds me of that. The defense that ended up allowing less than 100 yards per game rushing. And a lot of that was centered around monster D tackles that nobody could handle. And having that again, I think, is so huge. And then having the guys like Ullman and everybody flying around, having to pay the van toll, I think those guys and having the nasty D tackles is going to be so pivotal in this game. And then the amount of other Valley teams that do have, Cole Payton, really mobile quarterbacks that you can't let just sit back there either, but you got to contain them. I think that's going to be really, really huge. And I like this defense's chances of, giving them a hard time.
Yeah, I think a running quarterback also is going to have to pay the van toll. It's going to take a van toll on his body.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about Youngstown State in a second here, but that's definitely a big thing.
Brandon.
I love seeing the defensive backfield getting a couple interceptions, get runs after interception. I think they're coming along very well. A lot of new guys back there, but they look really good. And there's just some freak athletes out there like Dante Johnson. That dude looks like he was created like a creative player on Madden. And it's not just him. There's guys that are just long and lanky and just strong and fast. And man, it's just, they look different. You know what I mean? Like we've had, some very good defensive backfields in the past. But I think that this, you talk about getting off the bus, this defensive backfield, it's going to intimidate some people just getting off the bus because they look the part. But they're really, really good, really consistent too, making plays all over the place. So can't say enough good things about the defense. They're just playing lights out this year.
I've been thinking about a comp for a while. The Colonel and Kobe Claiborne, they have a lot of the same attributes in being a little undersized and using leverage so well. We've had really good luck with those players.
Does Claiborne have a wrestling background too?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It would make sense if he does.
I think he does. Isn't he the one who brought up who has better wrestling or something like that in one of the interviews in the off season?
Could be.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but yeah, he's so fun to watch. He's just a nightmare for teams. It seems like they try to double team and it doesn't matter. He still gets through there, and I just love seeing him chase guys down from. He never stops. Like you talk about guys that have like high motors. Like he is the epitome of a high motor defensive lineman because he just literally never stops going.
And that's not to take away from how awesome the other guy is on the other side.
Right.
Like,
not at all, but
feeling it too.
Yeah.
Well, and it's awesome too that he can play defensive end as well. So you can put him on the field and then all of a sudden he's lined up in a position you didn't expect him to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in the big article Zim put out on Sioux Falls Lives, it sounds like in the future they're hoping to be able to do that. So what a weapon to have back there, and man, he just raises havoc the whole time in the backfield. He's just a monster.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say enough about this defense right now as it sits. They're like top 10 in pretty much any category or just barely outside of it. And if you look at the teams ahead of them in most of those categories, it's like they haven't played anybody yet for 99% of them. So that's
who hasn't played anybody?
The guys up north,
like I don't know if I were to throw names out, it would probably be disparaging.
Yeah. To be clear, I don't think that our first game of the year was going to be the anybody we thought it was, unless some things.
No, you can't count that game as a good game as a like resume builder.
It was a good scheduled game. It didn't turn out to be that way.
So. Right, and you can say that about a bunch of teams that did try to schedule some teams and then they end up falling apart. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah,
and that's just the way it goes.
Just to clarify, before anybody from Fargo gets angry, we're joking. We don't. We think NDSU is very good. We're not. Yeah. We're not worried that you haven't played anybody.
I don't vote in the poll, but I would have them.
It's also a shot across the bow at USD. So
yes,
double whammy for us.
Well, actually, I was looking at teams like Presbyterian and Lehigh.
Yeah. Where do you suppose our last opponent ends up in the NEC, Brendan? I mean, because they looked pretty decent, and that's kind of traditionally not the best conference.
They won't be able to make the playoffs. They're not playoff eligible yet. I think they have the potential to cause a lot of havoc there. But on the same token, I worry that they're too beat up and wore down from that out of conference that they're going to end up dropping some early games they shouldn't. Otherwise, if they'd have had like 2 of the tough games that they had and then just like another easy D2 game like they had, maybe those guys, like their chances.
Those guys need a bye.
I was going to say, they're going to bye this week. They
don't get a bye till the end of the season.
Oh, they have the end of the season bye, which only works in your favor every once in a while.
Actually, I don't know.
If you're going to the playoffs and they can't because they're year 2.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. They do have one on the first weekend in November. But they've got 4 games away. 4 games before they have a bye. So, those guys are tired. And I think you could see it too. I think that, the way that we saw them play against Montana State, I think that, if they were a little more fresh, I think they would have given us a little more trouble. But I think they were pretty damn tired and I can't blame them. I mean, can you imagine being a college kid, like trying to get your college work done, but also going on road trips across the country 3 weekends in a row?
Yep. Right.
And getting beat up while you're doing it.
And playing tough competition while you're doing it.
What I mean.
It's just wild, the schedule they had. I mean, I hope it works out for them. They could learn a lot from it and be better for it. And, they'll, the other games will be easy for them now because they'll be like, well, you guys are nowhere near as good as the competition we played earlier this year. But yeah, we'll see.
They end up winning every game like 60. Whoa, this was
yeah.
Who moved the sliders? This is easy.
Right.
Somebody put it on easy mode. Speaking of not easy mode, we got Youngstown State. We're going to the Ice Castle.
We are. Should we, before we do that, do you want to touch on top 25 or just skip it all?
I can pull it up if you give me a second.
The old Red Shirt Sports top 25, since we have 2 voters in it. And it's the only poll not to have, well, not the only poll. Kevin's poll also does not have USD in it. Unlike
I don't like talking about other dudes' polls. Let's refrain.
I
wish credit where credit's due.
Man, if
It's just the way it was said. Never mind.
If the stats poll would actually post their, ballots like they should, it would be hilarious. I sent you that TikTok earlier of that guy. He's like roasting people on the AP poll and their stupid rankings.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that would be so good at the FCS level. People would eat that up.
Yep. Well, that's Redshirt Sports does that. If you are looking to see how everybody voted, myself and Alex included, then you just got to click on the link right under there. It's got every voter's poll in there. So if there's a guy with a really goofy poll, you can let him know and try to ask him, what's your issue, dude? Because there's still some there's just goofy people out there. They have their method and they're set on it.
Yeah, so the Redshirt Sports top 25, you've got NDSU 1, SDSU 2, Tarleton, Montana State, and Southern Illinois at 6, Illinois State at 7, Rhodey at 8, UC Davis at 9, Tennessee Tech at 10, and then for Valley teams and the rest, we got UND sitting at 12, and that's it. Oh, Youngstown State right at the bottom there, 25. So still playing a ranked opponent this weekend, barely.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on the top 25 before we move on?
I wouldn't underestimate this number 25 with what Dallas had to say about how they held their own and came back against Sparty.
Yeah, I think there's I look at it just on the poll itself. I think Illinois State really needs to prove itself at this point. They're hanging around up there, but I don't think they've done much to justify it, and they kind of got excused for their last game. So I think in kind of a similar fashion of USD, except, they didn't lose to someone like Lamar or go to overtime with, North Colorado. They went to overtime with North Alabama, but I will give them more credit than Northern Colorado. They've got to show something against NDSU. I don't expect them to win, but if they personally, in my vote, they want to stay anywhere near the top 10, they cannot get just absolutely murdered.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is it's NDSU, so even if they lose by a lot, they're probably not going to move much. But
right, I think it'll be how they lose, though, too. Right? I mean,
right?
Yeah,
how you look at that loss,
right? Yeah, no, but I mean, it seems like Southern Illinois is the real deal.
And
UND, I think, is in that potential territory too. So lots of strength in the Valley as always.
Yes.
Moving on to this coming week, we're going to Youngstown State, number 2 versus number 25. And if you haven't heard yet, they have the number 7 rusher in the country. Did you know that?
Yeah, he's their quarterback.
Their quarterback.
Yeah, but he is the number 7 overall rusher in the country, and he's kind of fun to watch. Like I went and watched a little film of them, and
he is fun.
He's like a water bug out there, man. Like, because I wanted to give him like the Tommy Mellott comp because he runs a lot, and they run him more than they pass him, and he literally runs like with a reckless abandon, like Tommy Mellott did. Like that dude puts his body on the line; he does not care.
Yep.
And so he's like Tommy Mellott that way, but he's much more. He's a smaller frame, and he's a little more agile. Probably not as much top end speed as Tommy had, but fun bow run guard, fun guy to watch, and he will be a problem. But like Chad alluded to, if you're going to run the quarterback 20 times a game, and we've got the hard hitting, linebackers that we have, good luck, man. I don't see it working out well for him, and I'm excited to see. Dan Jackson kind of alluded to it too on his coach's show that the defense is a little amped up for having playing a team that's running the quarterback as much as they do, and seeing what they can do about that.
One caveat to your comp there is that I think Brungard has proven that he can throw the ball much better than Tommy Mellott.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the Max Tomczak effect. I don't know. But Max is still there, and we haven't seen him have a breakout game. And he always loves to do that against us.
True. I will say, I was talking with Kelsey Kindrop at the soccer game tonight, and Kindop, yep, sorry.
Was that one?
And I mentioned, he's kind of good to face early in the season when you have to face NDSU later, because Cole Payton is more than enjoys running the football as well. And I'm not saying they are the same quarterback at all. Not even a little bit. I'm saying preparing for a running quarterback like that. He's not nearly what Cole Payton is, before I get taken out of context here.
Cole Payton murdered a third of USD's
a third of they made him look like Tecmo Bowl. It was just ridiculous. So that is very different. However, from the standpoint of facing a running quarterback who is very dangerous with his legs, it is nice to face him as a bit of a warm-up sort of concept. I foresee Youngstown State trying to, do what they did, I don't remember how long it's been, 5-6 years ago now, where they really controlled the clock, kept the ball out of our offensive hand.
It was longer than that, but it feels shorter because it
feels like it was just the last time we were there. And that's not it at all.
Quarterback back then, dude.
Right.
I remember that game vividly, and I'm still angry about it.
It was so gross. But I think that's something they'll try to do. Force us to keep our offense off the field, really, really keep possessions down, and make the game as fast as possible to stay in it towards the end, and have a shot at home. I think that'll be kind of their goal. I think they're capable of it if we allow them. I think it's going to be hugely important for the defense to get off the field, just like the Mercyhurst game it was. And it can be really hard when you've got a quarterback like him, where he can just break your heart. You're in the third, you get him in a 3rd and long, and all of a sudden he breaks free and picks up a 3rd and 12, and gets 13 because he uses his legs, and it's hard to contain him. So that's kind of my biggest concern. He's obviously their biggest weapon. He's not just the quarterback, he's the leading rusher. That's your biggest weapon, and it's not even close. So I think you need to shut him down. If you shut him down, I think that's the whole game plan. You shut him down and make somebody else beat you, is kind of the game plan there. And
I mean, the scary thing is that Lamson had a pretty good rushing game against us, and also Drake's 3rd string quarterback had a pretty good rushing game against us. And so it's an area that, I'm not going to go out and say that it's a weakness, but it's something that we've struggled a little bit with it so far this year. And so it's going to be something we need to really crack down on against Brungard, because, whether it's him running off of a intended pass play, or, I watch their game film a lot, and they're just using him as basically a wildcat running back. They're just getting an extra blocker in there, and it's just a QB power. And it can cause some problems. So we're going to have to definitely focus on it. That's for sure.
Yeah. They're big with the +1 run game. That's going to be huge. Little bit of option ball there. And I think the biggest positive, the interesting thing, I shouldn't say positive, the interesting thing is, you didn't have much film on Drake's 3rd string guy. You don't get a lot of, you didn't have a lot of film on Lamson. You've got a lot of film this game. Does that make a difference, or is it still something that is difficult to take care of? I mean, by its nature, the reason teams in college love running quarterbacks is because it's difficult to defend. It just is. I mean, even the NFL, it's hard to defend against a quarterback that can use his legs. The
only problem is in the NFL, you can't keep the guy healthy, because
the
guys hitting you are monsters.
Right, exactly.
With speed.
If they could survive better, then that's what everybody would have. But at this level, you can survive, and it's very difficult to defend. You really, really got to bow up. So it's going to be a huge test of the rushing defense. Have to be on their toes for play action with that. If they get that rolling, I think if you could stuff the run game, they're in trouble. But
for sure. But yeah, I mean, you talk about play action, and Tom Zach is a weapon. Like, that dude's a good wide receiver, and you definitely have to account for him because he can go off, no doubt. Outside of that, it'll be interesting. I'm interested because, if they're running an option game, do you pretty much just say, I dare you to hand it off to the running back? Because at this point, like, their other running backs barely have any carries. And it's like they don't trust him at all. And it's like, I mean, you gotta have some self-preservation, you'd think, for Brungard, but it seems like they don't, because they're just letting him run it 20 times a game, and their other running backs have 3-4 carries, and they don't care. And so I think it'll just be keying on him and making other guys beat you, honestly, because you can't have him beat you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think he's just such a huge part of their offense. They can't afford to not have him do that.
Yeah.
They have to give him the ball. And I think they have, a little bit in some of it. Tried to get away from running him so much in some of their games. I just don't think they really get a lot of choice or have that much of an option in it. I mean, he's the number one rusher in the conference right now. He averages 131 yards a game, 7.5 yards per carry. That's I don't care who's running the ball. That's a crazy yard per carry average.
That's Isaiah Davis numbers.
7.5. And he has steadily increased over the years. In 23, it was 4.6, 24, 6.3. So I guess he kind of ran that much in the past. I didn't remember how much he ran in the past, but less than he has been running.
Yeah, but the quantity was less. I mean, his running stats are a bit padded by the one game against, is it Robert Morris, I think, where he racked up 264 yards on the ground against Robert Morris with a long of 78. So that his average that game is 26.4. So that's gonna boost your average for a while.
Well, in 4 games, he's dangerously close to half the amount of carries that he had last year.
Yeah, so they're running him a lot more, but so that'll be obvious key on defense, and then I think on offense, Brendan, you hit it on the head. I think they're gonna try to control the game. So when we're on offense, we have to do what we can to stay on the field, convert those third downs, get chunk plays, and I'm guessing we're going to see Pelham a time or two this week, even though he didn't get any work last week. But when we do, making sure we play the field position game and help out the defense as much as we can, because I think this is a team in Youngstown where if you give them a bunch of short fields, they'll take advantage of it. They're going to score some points. But if we make them consistently drive the whole field, if you're making Bo Brungard, if he's got to drive at 80, 90 yards, and most of that is with his own legs, it's gonna be a tough game for him. So I think that's the 2 keys is time possession and field position, I think, against this team, and I think you can wear him down. I really do. I think that the hits will pile up on Brungard, especially if you get him with a good one early. He's going to get a little tentative, and I think we got the offense going well enough that I think that I obviously I'm confident that we'll win this game. I think I would expect us to win by 2 touchdowns. I think 14 to 17 points is what I expect.
Yeah, and you look at Youngstown State; they've been incredibly stingy against the run. They're only giving up 92.8 yards per game. That is less than us by a fair amount. But they're giving up the same average of 3.4 yards per carry. Passing wise, they're getting gashed. They're giving up 264.5 yards per game through the air. I'm wondering if this will be a similar game plan as the Mercyhurst game, where you try to make them open up. I'll be curious how they defend us with how potent the passing attack has looked. If they decide to drop back and see if we prove it with the rush game first. But I mean, there's definitely yards to be had passing the ball, overrunning the ball. But the danger there is, if they're trying to control the tempo of the game and keep the game slow, you have a couple quick 3-and-outs throwing the ball, and now you could have some issues with the defense getting tired and not staying on the field. Now, I will say, I remember noticing I did turn the game on from the Mercyhurst on. I just didn't really watch it that closely. I had it out in the background. I did notice it said we were number 1 in the nation in time of possession going into the Mercyhurst game. I don't know if that stayed that way or not. But I think that is an important thing. As it sits right now, we're number 1 in the conference in time of possession, still averaging 35.52 minutes time of possession per game. That's a huge, huge chunk of the game to control the ball. So we've been very good at that. So I think that will be very difficult for teams to account for. But yeah,
so. We are still number 1 in the country with 35 average time of possession.
Yeah. Another interesting stat: somehow we are ranked as the number 1 red zone offense. I believe that's just counting how many times we've been successful in the red zone. We are 22-27. The next closest is. I'm not sure how that's a weird way for that to be sorted.
Is that ESPN stats where it's messed up again?
No, this is
NCAA.
This is on the Valley site.
Oh,
it's very odd. I'm not sure why it has us number 1 in
red zone percentage.
Nope, we're not that. That's Youngstown State NDSU 95.5. Then
there you go. That makes sense.
Then if we're going by percent, it's NDSU, Southern Illinois, Youngstown, Indiana State, and we are 7th in percentage wise, which is I would rank it. For some reason that graph was sorted by field goal attempts.
That's we're number 1 in field goal attempts, not success.
Well, field goals made too. We've made almost twice as many as anybody else because we have attempted 2.5 times the amount of field goals that anybody else in the conference has attempted in the red zone. We are 7 for 10. Second place is 4 attempts, 4 attempts, 4 attempts, 4 attempts, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3. So that's crazy.
Yeah, but we did it by stepping on our own members.
Well, yeah. And I'm not trying to go back down that rabbit hole. It was just a weird way that it was. I don't know why it was sorted that way. It doesn't make any sense.
I think if we continue to progress like we did throughout the Mercyhurst game, the team from the second half shows up to start the game, and we take the next step for the other half. We take care of business. And it'll be a good, entertaining game. I was hoping to see their pressures, but I didn't see that on their stats line to see if maybe they had a lot of quarterback pressures but
haven't seen that. But I think with the development of Chase Mason that we've seen, I think that I have a lot of confidence that if they're forcing us to throw the ball, I got a lot of confidence. And I think it makes it really difficult for teams because I think you saw pretty early in the season that teams were just loading the box. They were daring Chase Mason to throw the ball, and he's obviously shown that he can. And now it's going to be a big problem for people. And yes, let's get that Chase Mason, Walter Payton hype train going because I feel like he's not getting enough talk in that area. So. We'll keep mentioning that on our shows until it becomes a thing.
I think that's going to take care of itself.
I do too.
Even if it's not a thing when the game arrives, I think he'll have a chance to show the whole country on national television during the marker game. If that's something to be a part of. obviously always support our players winning that, but personally, I think it has gotten a little bit to be a little too power conference heavy to a point where it's like, well, he played the toughest competition and he was on the best team, was the best quarterback, so that's your Walter Payton candidate. As much as I hate stat padding against a weak conference, I also hate like that just being the automatic move. Like, well, he won the Missouri Valley and went to the national title, he must be the the Walter Payton Award winner. I don't love that all the time either.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So I throw my hat in the ring right now with Robertson and because
Robertson's a dude.
He's got 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns in like 4 games. Like that's crazy. That is it's the dumbest stat line I've ever heard of. Anyways, beyond that, we should probably mention our sponsor, Wooden Leg Brewery, even though we may not have a beer from
that's a fail on my part. 100% a fail on my part.
We can still talk about our last Crowler was sold over the weekend.
Coach Al?
But to Coach Al, Big Al.
If he doesn't already have one, I can present.
By the way, you know who that is, right, Brendan?
Yeah, I know exactly who that is. We play him in softball.
Yeah,
all the time.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good dude. Appreciate the support.
Great dude.
And yeah, exciting deal selling out of those. But as far as Wooden Legs goes, even though we don't have a beer to review tonight, I will just say that every time I go in there, like I'm a variety guy. I like trying new things. Every time I go in there, there's like something up there. And I'm like, never had that before. And so I try it and it's usually good. And so if you're a person that likes variety, like trying new things, Wooden Legs is the place to go because they've got that in spades and they do a good job there. And also their customer service is next to none. I mean, I've always had a great experience there. And when they hosted us for the podcast, they were great. Just good people all around. So thank you, Wooden Legs.
Yes.
And I'm not sure, but it's the time of year where they should have their Marzen on, which is a pretty damn good beer.
Someone's excited for it.
Yeah, that's my favorite style of beer. We all know that.
Hey, Chad, question, because they're out. It was their last Crowler. Are they like completely out or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they pushed on
like are
that
the kegs
tap.
gone or?
Yeah, because it never. I don't know if it even made kegs. Actually, it was just in there.
Oh, really? Just straight Crowler
in the cooler back there. I don't know.
No, we had pints of it when we were there for the live show.
Right, but they're pouring it into the Crowlers. That's how it gets in there off the tap line.
Okay,
so,
off the tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said they never made kegs, but yeah.
I don't think they actually put it into kegs. They have a different system that's in their cooler that by where you signed.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Okay. All right. See,
interesting.
This is why Chad
not a keg like you would think.
We'll have to have Seth on the show sometime to tell us how it works.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, anything else on this Youngstown game?
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be fun.
I too.
As much as I love home games, I also love away games because it's my chance to really veg out and just watch a bunch of FCS football, which I really enjoy. And it's nice to watch it on the broadcast because you can see what's happening a little more analytically, which will be fun. I love home games more than anything, obviously, but it will be kind of it is a nice change of pace to have a away game once in a while. I get to see everything. The Ice Castle is cool in person. Jim said he's going to be. I know Jim's going to be going to see that in person. It is I think it's a cool stadium in person. It looks like garbage on TV, but it's a really cool stadium in person.
That's one that you wouldn't want to do stadium runs on.
Oh my God, no!
Because it's one solid side, right? There's no tiers or anything.
Yeah, it's solid on the one side. It's just a big clamshell, and then the opposite side does have, I don't know, probably 4,000 or 5,000 seats, but the one side seats probably like 20,000, and it just goes straight up, and it's just huge. But anyways, yeah, I look forward to this game. Hopefully, just like to see the offense keep clicking. See how the defense handles, running quarterback like Brungard, and see him to keep improving. See the old line gel some more, and the running game keep improving.
Yeah, sounds good.
It does look like they have their beer called Fest, their Marzen on tap, unless they have blew that tap line too, but I doubt that they have. So
Wooden Legs does?
Wooden Legs, yep.
Nice. All right, we'll get down there for that. Before we take off, I do have to quickly say the reason why I wasn't able to be on last night is a really good friend had somebody pass, and I just want to encourage everybody to live every day like it's your last, because you never know when it's your last. And when you see people you love, tell them you never know when it's the last chance you get to do that. So, just keep my friend in your thoughts. It was a pretty big loss. So, other than that, hopefully we see a Jacks win this weekend. And as always, go big, go blue,
go
Jacks.
Jacks.